Captain Jake Morrison stood in the massive chamber of the Galactic Confederation station. The ceiling stretched so high above him that it disappeared into darkness. Strange lights floated in the air, casting weird shadows on the walls. Around him sat 12 different alien species, each more terrifying than the last. The insect-like Zephyrians clicked their mandibles together. Their leader, a creature twice Jake's height, stared at him with compound eyes that reflected the room's light like mirrors. Next to them sat the Vorthon, beings made of living crystal that hummed with energy. Their spokesperson glowed brighter when it spoke, sending painful flashes of light across the room. Ambassador Lisa Carter stepped forward. She had been Earth's voice in this place for 3 years, trying to make peace with these powerful beings. Her hands shook slightly, but her voice stayed strong. "Honored members of the Confederation," she began, "Earth requests more time to consider your proposal." The Zephyrian leader's laugh sounded like breaking glass. "Proposal? Human, you misunderstand. This is not a request for discussion. This is a command." Dr. Amy Rodriguez, Earth's expert on alien cultures, whispered to Jake. "They don't see us as equals. To them, we're like children who need to be taught lessons." The Vorthon speaker pulsed with angry red light. "Your species has spread to 47 worlds in just 2 centuries. You fight constant wars among yourselves. You destroy your environments. You are a threat to galactic peace." Jake felt his anger rising. These aliens had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years, and they thought humans were the problem. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. They were still learning how to explore space safely. Admiral Rick Thompson, the head of Earth's small fleet, stood beside Jake. His weathered face showed years of military service. "What exactly are you demanding?" he asked. The chamber fell silent. Then the Zephyrian leader spoke in a voice that echoed off the walls. "Complete surrender. All human military forces will be disbanded. All human colonies will accept Confederation governors. Earth will pay tribute to support galactic stability. Humans will be limited to their birth world and 3 approved colony planets." Lisa's face went pale. "You're asking us to give up our freedom?" "We are offering you survival," the Vorthon replied. Its crystal body glowed brighter. 12 species before you refused our generous terms. Where are they now?" "Their worlds are empty. Their names are forgotten." Jake stepped forward. He couldn't stay quiet anymore. "You're threatening to wipe us out if we don't become your slaves." The Zephyrian's compound eyes focused on him. "You understand correctly, human." The alien leader gestured with one of its 4 arms. The air in the center of the chamber shimmered. Suddenly a hologram appeared showing massive alien warships. Hundreds of them floated in perfect formation. Each ship was 5 times larger than Earth's biggest vessel. "This is one patrol fleet," the Zephyrian said. "We have 50 such fleets. Your entire military could not defeat a single one of our ships." Amy grabbed Jake's arm. She had studied these aliens for years and knew their history. "They're not lying," she whispered. "Their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours." Rick Thompson studied the hologram carefully. As a military man, he knew what he was looking at. Those ships could destroy Earth's entire fleet without taking damage. But something in his expression suggested he was already thinking about how to fight them anyway. The Vorthon speaker continued. "You have 30 of your days to accept our terms. Send your answer to this station. If you refuse or if you try to run, we will demonstrate why resistance is pointless." Lisa tried one more time. "Surely we can find a middle ground. Humans have much to offer the galaxy. Our scientists, our explorers, your aggression," the Zephyrian interrupted. "Your unpredictability. Your refusal to follow proper order. These traits make you dangerous." The chamber began to empty as the alien representatives left. They moved with the confidence of beings who had never known defeat. The Zephyrian's claws clicked on the metal floor. The Vorthon hummed as they glided away. Other species followed, some looking at the humans with what might have been pity. Soon only the 4 humans remained in the enormous room. Jake looked around at his companions. Well, that went about as badly as possible. Lisa slumped into a chair. 3 years of careful diplomacy had just collapsed. They've made up their minds. They see us as a problem that needs to be solved. Rick was still staring at where the hologram had been. 50 fleets, he muttered. Each one capable of destroying our entire navy. Amy walked to the massive windows that looked out into space. Through the transparent metal, she could see some of the Confederation ships docked at the station. Even the smallest ones dwarfed human vessels. They're probably right about their military advantage, she said quietly. But Jake wasn't ready to give up. Maybe they have better ships. Maybe they have more experience. But they don't know how humans fight when we're backed into a corner. Rick nodded slowly. They've been dealing with civilized species that follow rules. Species that surrender when the odds are hopeless. He turned to face the others. But humans don't always follow rules. And we don't always surrender when we should. Lisa looked up at them. You're talking about fighting a war we can't win. Maybe we can't win, Jake replied. But maybe we don't have to win. Maybe we just have to make them pay such a high price that they decide to leave us alone. Amy turned from the window. The Zephyrians mentioned 12 species that refused their terms. All of them were wiped out completely. Those species weren't human, Rick said. His voice carried the determination of a soldier who had never learned to quit. They don't know what we're capable of when we fight for our survival. The 4 humans left the chamber together. They had 30 days to carry a message back to Earth, a message that would either save their species or doom it to extinction. Behind them, the alien station continued its slow rotation. In the depths of the structure, Confederation leaders were already planning the human pacification campaign. They expected it to last no more than a few weeks. They had no idea what they were about to face. General Sam Parker stood in the emergency meeting room deep below the Pentagon. For the first time in human history, every major world leader was connected to this call. The Chinese premier, the European Union president, the African Federation chairman, and dozens of others filled the screens around him. The message from the Galactic Confederation had reached Earth 12 hours ago. 30 days to surrender or face complete destruction. The situation is clear, General Parker said. We can submit and become slaves, or we can fight and probably die. But if we fight, maybe our children will be free. Dr. Kevin Walsh, Earth's top physicist, was working frantically in his laboratory. For 3 years, he'd been studying pieces of alien technology that human explorers had found on dead worlds, how that research might save humanity. The alien ships use energy shields, he explained to his team, but their shields are designed to stop other energy weapons. What if we use something simpler? His assistant, a young engineer named Bobby Chen, looked up from his computer. Simpler like what? Like a big rock moving really fast, Kevin replied. Or a nuclear missile. Their shields might not be programmed to stop primitive weapons. Commander Nina Brooks was in her fighter cockpit, testing humanity's first stealth ships. The vessels were small and ugly compared to alien craft, but they had one advantage. Human ships were harder to detect because they were built with different technology. Control, this is Ghost 1, she reported. The new coding is working. I'm almost invisible to our own sensors. The stealth technology wasn't really human invention. Earth's engineers had found it in the wreckage of a destroyed alien scout ship. But humans were good at taking other people's ideas and making them work better. Captain Tony Mitchell was underwater, but his mind was in space. As a submarine commander, he understood stealth warfare. Now he was teaching space pilots how to hide and strike without warning. In the ocean, we use the environment as a weapon, he told the assembled space captains. Cold water hides our heat signatures. Ocean layers confuse sonar. In space, you have radiation, gravity wells, and asteroid fields. Learn to use them. The human colonies scattered across 47 worlds received the warning message within days. Each colony began preparing for siege. Some had only a few thousand people, others had millions. All of them knew they might be on their own when the aliens came. On Mars, Colony Governor Helen Price organized the evacuation of non-essential personnel to hidden bases. We can't stop them from taking our cities, she told her council. But we can make sure they don't find everyone. The asteroid belt became humanity's secret weapon factory. Miners who had spent years digging for metals suddenly found themselves building warships. The ships were crude and ugly, but they were armed with the biggest guns humans could build. Engineer Carlos Vega worked 18-hour days welding armor plates onto converted mining vessels. These ships won't win any beauty contests, he told his crew, but they'll give the aliens something to remember us by. Earth's orbital shipyards worked around the clock. Every nation contributed resources. Old enemies became allies overnight. The Russians shared their rocket technology with Americans. The Chinese opened their manufacturing facilities to European engineers. The Indians provided computer expertise to anyone who needed it. Admiral Rick Thompson coordinated the massive effort from a space station orbiting Earth. Sleep had become a luxury he couldn't afford. "We need 300 ships ready in 25 days, he told his staff. "I don't care if they're pretty. I just need them to fight." Dr. Amy Rodriguez was studying everything humans knew about the 12 extinct species. Each one had tried to resist the Confederation in their own way. All of them had failed. The Kithera were excellent strategists, she reported to the Defense Council. The Confederation defeated them by targeting their command centers. The Molochs had powerful weapons but poor mobility. The aliens just stayed out of range and wore them down. General Parker studied her reports carefully. What did all these species have in common? "They fought the way they thought war should be fought," Amy replied. "Honorable battles between military forces. They followed rules of engagement. They tried to minimize civilian casualties. And the Confederation? They don't follow any rules except winning." The most important discovery came from an unexpected source. A human archaeologist on a dead world found intact alien databases. The information was thousands of years old, but it revealed something crucial about Confederation tactics. Dr. Luke Evans transmitted his findings directly to Earth's military command. The aliens always used the same strategy: overwhelming force and direct confrontation. They've never faced an enemy that used guerrilla tactics. This gave human planners their first real hope. Every human military had experience with guerrilla warfare. From ancient times to modern conflicts, humans had learned to fight larger, stronger enemies by refusing to meet them head-on. Captain Pete Jackson was already planning the first strike. His background was in special operations, and he understood how small forces could hurt much larger ones. "We don't try to match their fleet ship for ship," he explained to his pilots. "We hit them where they don't expect it. We use weapons they've never seen. We make them afraid to be alone." The preparations weren't just military. Every human colony began training civilians in resistance techniques. Children learned to hide in prepared shelters. Adults practiced moving supplies through secret tunnels. Everyone memorized emergency communication codes. On Earth, Maya Singh worked in the Global Communications Center. Her job was to make sure that even if the aliens destroyed the main command centers, human forces could still coordinate their attacks. "We're setting up relay stations on every asteroid, every moon, every hidden base," she reported. "Even if they take Earth, the colonies will know what's happening." As the deadline approached, something unexpected began happening throughout human space. Volunteers started arriving from the most distant colonies. Young people who should have been safe instead chose to join the fight. Steve Murphy, captain of the converted cargo ship Defiance, welcomed the new arrivals. "Why did you come?" he asked a group of college students from Alpha Centauri. "Because if Earth falls, we're next," replied their leader, a young woman named Alex Turner. "Better to fight together than die alone." The 30 days were almost over. Human fleets gathered at secret meeting points throughout the solar system. The ships were a mixture of military vessels, converted cargo haulers, armed mining rigs, and experimental fighters. They didn't look like much compared to the elegant alien warships. But they carried something the aliens had never faced before: human determination, human unpredictability, and human willingness to die for freedom. The Confederation fleet would arrive soon. When they did, they would discover that humans didn't fight the way civilized species were supposed to fight. They were about to learn why that was a very dangerous thing. The Confederation fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system like a moving city of metal and light. 200 massive warships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Each vessel was a kilometer long, armed with weapons that could crack planets. Fleet Commander Zexhai of the Zephyrians studied the tactical display from his flagship's bridge. His compound eyes registered the positions of human forces scattered throughout the system. The enemy fleet looked pathetically small. 47 human vessels detected, reported his tactical officer, all inferior classes. Estimated engagement time 37 minutes. Zexhai clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. This would be easier than expected. The humans had chosen to fight in their home system instead of running to their colonies. It would save time. "Open communications to the human fleet," he ordered. "Offer them one final chance to surrender." Commander Pete Jackson floated in the command center of his modified destroyer, Iron Wolf. Around him, screens showed the positions of every human ship in the system. They were outnumbered 4-1 by vessels that were each 10 times more powerful. "Confederation fleet, this is Earth Defense Command," he broadcast. "You are not welcome in this system. Leave now or face the consequences." The alien commander's laughter came through the speakers like breaking glass. "Human, you have 47 primitive ships against 200 advanced warships. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick." Pete smiled grimly. "Thanks for the warning." Iron Wolf out, he switched to the human command frequency. "All ships, this is Jackson. Remember the plan. Make them pay for every meter." Lieutenant Maya Singh was in the communications hub buried deep inside an asteroid near Jupiter. Her job was to coordinate the attack from a position the aliens couldn't find easily. "Ghost Squadron, you are cleared for first strike," she transmitted. "Target the lead ships. Hit them fast and get out." Commander Nina Brooks led 12 stealth fighters toward the alien fleet. The small ships were almost invisible, hidden in the radiation shadow of Jupiter's massive bulk. They carried humanity's most destructive weapons, nuclear missiles with modified warheads. "Ghost leader to all fighters," she whispered into her comm. "Remember, these missiles use kinetic kill vehicles. No energy signatures for their shields to detect. Get close before you fire." The Confederation fleet moved deeper into the solar system with stately confidence. They maintained formation, their shields glowing softly as they deflected cosmic radiation. HFY was already planning the victory ceremony. Then Nina's fighters struck. 12 nuclear missiles emerged from Jupiter's radiation field at incredible speed. The alien point defense systems registered them, but the targeting computers hesitated. These weren't energy weapons or sophisticated alien missiles. They were primitive atomic devices riding simple kinetic boosters. The missiles slammed into 3 Confederation ships before their crews could react. The nuclear explosions didn't penetrate the energy shields, but the kinetic impact sent shockwaves through the alien hulls. 2 ships lost engine power. 1 began spinning out of control. "What was that?" HFY demanded. His tactical officer's report confused him more. "Nuclear weapons, Commander. Primitive atomic devices. Our shields are not calibrated to stop such crude attacks." Captain Steve Murphy watched the first strike from his position near Mars. His ship, Defiance, looked like a cargo hauler because it had been one until last month, but hidden in its cargo bays were the biggest guns humanity had ever built. "First blood to us," he told his crew. "Now they know we're serious." The Confederation fleet regrouped quickly. HFY ordered his ships to adjust their shields and begin systematic bombardment of human positions. Energy beams lanced across space, targeting the largest human vessels, but the human ships didn't fight the way the aliens expected. Instead of forming battle lines, they scattered in all directions. Some dove toward the sun, using its gravity to accelerate to impossible speeds. Others disappeared into the asteroid belt. A few actually flew directly at the alien ships, then veered away at the last second. Pilot Alex Turner was in one of the fastest human fighters, a modified racing ship armed with mining charges. She flew her craft like it was an extension of her own body, weaving between alien fire. "They're good shots," she called to her wingman. "But they're aiming where we were, not where we're going." Her fighter dove toward a Confederation destroyer, drawing its fire. At the last moment, she released her cargo, a cluster of mining explosives programmed to seek heat signatures. The charges stuck to the alien ship's hull and detonated. The explosions didn't destroy the vessel, but they damaged its weapon systems. The destroyer's elegant lines were scarred with blast craters. Captain Tony Mitchell coordinated the submarine-style attacks from his command ship hidden in Europa's ice. He had taught the human fleet to think like undersea hunters. Strike Team 7, use the asteroid field for cover. Attack from below their formation. They won't expect it. His plan worked. Human ships emerged from behind asteroids like submarines rising from the depths. They fired everything they had, then disappeared back into the rocky maze before the aliens could respond effectively. The Confederation ships tried to pursue, but their massive size worked against them in the crowded asteroid field. 2 alien vessels collided while chasing human fighters through the rocks. HFY watched his perfect formation dissolve into chaos. These humans fought without honor, without dignity. They struck from hiding, used the environment as a weapon, and refused to meet his forces in honest battle. "Adjust tactics," he ordered. "Ignore the small ships. Target their planets directly." But when his fleet moved toward Earth, they found more surprises waiting. The planet was surrounded by a cloud of small objects that looked like space debris. Too late, the aliens realized it was a minefield. The explosions weren't large enough to destroy Confederation ships, but they forced the fleet to slow down and navigate carefully. This gave the human defenders more time to attack. Dr. Kevin Walsh watched the battle from Earth's orbital defense station. His modifications to captured alien technology were working better than hoped. Human weapons that should have been useless were causing real damage. The key is unpredictability, he told his research team. They've programmed their defenses for civilized warfare. We're giving them something completely different. The first major victory came when Commander Pete Jackson's strike force reached the alien flagship. His ships had been painted to look damaged and helpless. The Confederation vessels ignored them, focusing on more obvious threats. Jackson's fleet waited until they were within point-blank range. Then every ship opened fire at once. Missiles, energy weapons, and kinetic projectiles struck the alien flagship from all sides. The massive ship's shields flared and died. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull. For the first time in 1,000 years, a Confederation flagship was taking critical damage. "This is Iron Wolf," Jackson broadcast to all human forces. "The big ones can be hurt. Keep hitting them." Maya Singh coordinated the next phase of the attack from her hidden command center. Human ships throughout the system began converging on damaged alien vessels. They moved like a pack of wolves, isolating wounded enemies and attacking in overwhelming numbers. The Confederation fleet, designed for elegant warfare between equals, found itself under constant assault by an enemy that refused to follow any rules. Human ships rammed damaged alien vessels. Fighters loaded with explosives flew suicide missions into enemy engines. Mining ships used their industrial equipment as weapons. HFY's perfect fleet was becoming a scattered collection of damaged vessels fighting for survival. His tactical displays showed impossible things. Primitive human ships destroying advanced alien technology through sheer audacity. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his tactical officer. 17 destroyed, 34 damaged, came the reply. Human losses are minimal. For the first time in his long military career, HFY considered retreat. These humans fought like nothing in the Confederation's experience. They were wild, unpredictable, and absolutely fearless. The battle raged on, but the tide had turned. Human forces pressed their advantage, using every dirty trick they could think of. The Confederation fleet, built for civilized warfare, was learning what happened when they faced an uncivilized enemy. In the depths of space, humanity was teaching the galaxy a new lesson about the price of freedom. The news of the solar system battle spread through the galaxy faster than light. For the first time in 1,000 years, a Confederation fleet had been forced to retreat. The impossible had happened. Primitive humans had defeated advanced alien technology. Intelligence officer Rachel Green worked in a hidden base on the edge of human space. Her job was to find out everything she could about the enemy. What she discovered in the captured alien databases horrified her. "Admiral Foster, you need to see this," she called to her commander. Admiral Kate Foster was the new head of Earth's rapidly expanding fleet. She had taken over when Admiral Thompson died in the Jupiter battle, killed when his command ship rammed an alien cruiser to save a human colony transport. Rachel showed her the holographic displays. "These are records of the 12 species that resisted the Confederation before us. Look at what happened to them." The images showed dead worlds. Planets that had once been green and full of life were now bare rock. Cities were melted glass. Entire civilizations had been erased so completely that no trace remained. The Calarian Empire had 6 billion people spread across 40 worlds, Rachel explained. It took the Confederation 3 years to kill every single one. They didn't just defeat the military, they exterminated the entire species. Kate studied the records with growing anger. "How many others?" "All of them. The Confederation doesn't just conquer resistant species. They wipe them out completely. Every man, woman, and child. Then they move other species onto the empty worlds and pretend the original inhabitants never existed." Dr. Luke Evans was on another dead world, searching through the ruins of a civilization called the Morthan Republic. His archaeological team had found intact computer systems buried deep underground. "The Morthan fought for 7 years," he reported to Earth. "They had better technology than us, stronger ships, more experience. But the Confederation just kept sending more fleets until the Morthan had nothing left to fight with." He sent detailed scans of the alien weapons and ship designs. They tried to fight honorably. Pitched battles, military targets only, rules of engagement, It didn't matter. The Confederation has unlimited resources and no sense of honor. Captain Holly Davis commanded a deep space reconnaissance mission near the Galactic core. Her ship, Wanderer, was one of the new stealth vessels built with captured alien technology. She had been watching Confederation fleet movements for weeks. "They're mobilizing everything," she transmitted back to Earth. "I count at least 300 additional ships moving toward human space. This isn't just another patrol fleet. This is an extinction force." The alien response to their defeat was exactly what Rachel's intelligence had predicted. The Confederation Council had voted unanimously to classify humans as a species-level threat. This meant complete extermination, just like the 12 civilizations before them. But humans had advantages that the previous species hadn't possessed. They were spread across dozens of star systems, making them harder to eliminate completely. They had adapted alien technology to work with human tactics. Most importantly, they had inspired other oppressed species within the Confederation to begin resisting. The first allies came from an unexpected source. The Kalari were a peaceful species that had been conquered by the Confederation 2 centuries ago. They had accepted tributary status and seemed content with their fate. Commander Lisa Carter, now serving as Earth's diplomatic coordinator, received their secret message at a hidden space station. "We cannot fight openly," the Kalari representative explained through an encrypted channel, "but we can provide intelligence, supplies, safe havens for your ships." "Why risk it?" Lisa asked. "You've been part of the Confederation for 200 years. "Because watching your species fight has reminded us what we gave up," the alien replied. "Freedom is worth fighting for, even when the odds are impossible." Similar messages came from other conquered species throughout Confederation space. The humans had done something that terrified the alien leadership. They had proved that the mighty Confederation could be hurt. Admiral Kate Foster used this growing network of resistance to plan humanity's next move. Instead of waiting for the extinction fleet to arrive at Earth, human forces would strike first at Confederation bases throughout the galaxy. "We can't match their numbers," she told her fleet commanders, "but we can make them fight on 100 different fronts, force them to spread their forces thin." The strategy was based on human military history, guerrilla warfare, resistance movements, and asymmetric tactics that had served smaller forces, fighting larger ones for thousands of years. Captain Joe Patterson commanded one of the new, experimental ships built with a mixture of human and alien technology. His vessel, Retribution, looked like a Confederation cruiser from the outside but was packed with human weapons and equipment. "We're going to hit their supply depot at Kepler Station," he told his crew. "Get in, cause maximum damage, and get out before their patrol fleets can respond." The attack succeeded beyond expectations. Patterson's ship approached the alien base using captured Confederation identification codes. By the time the base commanders realized they were being attacked, human fighters were already inside their defensive perimeter. The depot contained supplies for 50 alien fleets. When it exploded, the blast could be seen from 3 star systems away. Similar attacks began happening throughout Confederation space. Human raiders, often aided by local resistance groups, struck at alien shipping, communication relays, and minor bases. Each attack was small, but together they forced the aliens to divert ships from the main extinction fleet to guard their territory. Major Susan Clark led the first human ground assault on an alien world. Her target was a Confederation intelligence center on a planet called Vortis Prime. The facility contained strategic information about alien fleet movements and defensive capabilities. "Remember, we're not here to hold territory," she told her soldiers as their shuttles approached the planet. "We get in, download everything we can, and leave." The alien defenders had never faced human ground forces before. They expected organized battles with clear front lines. Instead, they got small teams moving fast, striking multiple targets simultaneously, and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. Susan's forces captured the intelligence center in 6 hours. The information they downloaded revealed the location of the main Confederation fleet yards and the schedule for the extinction campaign against humanity. But the most important discovery came from an unexpected source. Dr. Kathy Miller, working in a captured alien laboratory, made a breakthrough that would change everything. "I figured out how their faster-than-light communication works," she announced to the research team. "And more importantly, I know how to disrupt it." The implications were staggering. If humans could interfere with alien communications, they could blind the Confederation fleets and prevent them from coordinating their attacks. How long to build a jamming device? Admiral Foster asked. With our current resources? 6 weeks, Kathy replied. But we'd need to get close to their main communication hub to make it work. The communication hub was located at the center of Confederation space, protected by the largest fleet base in the galaxy. Attacking it would be suicide for any conventional force, but humans had stopped being conventional the moment they decided to fight impossible odds as the Confederation extinction fleet prepared for its final assault on human space. Humanity was planning something that no species had ever attempted: a direct attack on the heart of alien power. The next phase of the war would determine whether humans joined the 12 extinct species in galactic history, or whether they would carve out a place among the stars through courage, determination, and the willingness to do whatever it took to survive. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had only begun to fight. Fleet Admiral Ben Collins stood on the bridge of humanity's newest flagship, a massive vessel built inside the hull of a captured Confederation dreadnought. The ship looked alien from the outside, but its crew was entirely human, and its weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Status report," he called to his officers. "All fleets report ready." "Sir," replied Captain Danny White, his tactical coordinator. 200 ships in the main assault force. Another 300 scattered throughout Confederation space for simultaneous strikes. Ben nodded grimly. This was humanity's biggest gamble yet. Instead of defending their colonies, they were taking the fight directly to the enemy's home territory. Dr. Kathy Miller worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the flagship. She had 6 hours to complete the communication jamming device that would blind the Confederation fleet during the attack. "The quantum resonance cascade is calibrated," she told her assistant, Engineer Paul Harris. "Once we activate this near their main communication hub, every alien ship in 50 light years will lose contact with their command structure." "And if it doesn't work?" Paul asked. "Then we're all dead," Kathy replied cheerfully. "But at least we'll go down fighting." The plan was insane by any military standard. 500 human ships, many of them converted civilian vessels, were about to attack the most heavily defended location in the galaxy. The Confederation had spent 1,000 years building their fortress at the Galactic Center. It was protected by over 1,000 warships and orbital defense platforms that could destroy planets. But humans had learned something important about their enemies. The Confederation had grown arrogant after centuries of easy victories. They expected their enemies to fight fair, to follow rules, to surrender when the odds became hopeless. Humans didn't follow any of those expectations. Captain Joe Patterson's ship, Retribution, led the first wave of the attack. His vessel was one of 20 ships that looked like damaged Confederation vessels requesting emergency assistance. Confederation Command. "This is Battle Group Zeta," he transmitted using captured alien communication codes. "We've suffered heavy damage in the outer rim and request immediate docking for repairs." The massive space station at the galaxy's center was called the Nexus. It was bigger than Earth's moon and housed over 10 million aliens. Its defensive fleet could have conquered a dozen star systems by itself. "Battle Group Zeta, you are not scheduled for return," came the reply from the station's traffic control. "Command, we have critical intelligence about human fleet movements," Joe responded. "We need immediate access to strategic planning." On the Nexus, confusion spread through the command structure. The ships requesting entry looked damaged. Their transponder codes checked out, and they claimed to have important intelligence. But something felt wrong about their approach patterns. Fleet Commander Vextal of the Vorthon studied the tactical displays. His crystalline body pulsed with nervous energy. "Those ships are not flying standard formation," he told his aide. "Perhaps they are more damaged than they appear," the aide suggested. Before Vextal could respond, the damaged ships opened fire. 20 human vessels, each packed with nuclear weapons and kinetic projectiles, unleashed everything they had at point-blank range. The Nexus's shields flared under the unexpected assault. But this was only the beginning. Admiral Ben Collins led the main human fleet out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. 500 ships emerged from the darkness, moving in attack formations that no Confederation strategist had ever studied. "All ships, this is Collins," he broadcast. "Remember what we're fighting for. Every human who ever lived. Every human who ever will live. Make them count. The Confederation Defense Fleet reacted quickly, but they were designed to fight other civilized species. The humans came at them like a swarm of angry insects attacking from every direction at once. Major Susan Clark led the ground assault teams that had been hidden inside the damaged ships. While the space battle raged overhead, her soldiers fought their way through the Nexus's corridors toward the communication hub. "Resistance is lighter than expected," she reported to Admiral Collins. "I think they've never been boarded before." The alien defenders were trained for ship-to-ship combat, not close quarters fighting in corridors. Human soldiers, with their experience in ground warfare, moved through the station like wolves through a sheep pen. Dr. Kathy Miller's jamming device was finally ready. "Admiral, I need 30 seconds near their main communication array," she transmitted. "You'll get it," Collins replied. The space battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Human ships fought with a desperation that shocked their enemies. When their weapons ran out, they rammed alien vessels. When their ships were damaged beyond repair, the crews set them to explode and flew them into enemy formations. Captain Alex Turner, now commanding her own squadron of fighters, led a group of pilots on what everyone knew was a suicide mission. Their job was to clear the defensive platforms around the communication hub. "If we don't make it back," she told her pilots, "make sure they remember we were here." Her fighters dove through a storm of alien fire, their small ships dancing between massive energy beams. Half her squadron died in the first minute, but the survivors reached their target. The communication hub exploded in a cascade of light and energy. Instantly, every Confederation ship in the system lost contact with their commanders. The perfectly coordinated alien fleet became a collection of confused individual vessels. Dr. Kathy Miller activated her jamming device at the moment of maximum chaos. The quantum cascade spread through the alien communication network like a virus, shutting down their ability to coordinate across dozens of star systems. "Jamming successful," she reported. "They're blind, but the cost was enormous. Half the human fleet was already destroyed or badly damaged." Admiral Collins watched the tactical display as red icons marking human ships winked out one by one. Then something unexpected happened. Ships began appearing throughout the system that weren't human or Confederation. The Kalari had arrived with their hidden fleet. Behind them came the Threnodi, the Baxan, and 6 other species that had been secretly preparing for this moment. "This is Kalari Fleet Command," came a transmission in broken English. "We stand with humanity. For freedom." The aliens who had spent centuries under Confederation rule had finally found the courage to fight back. Inspired by human determination, they had overcome their fear and joined the battle. The tide of combat shifted dramatically. The Confederation forces, already confused by the loss of communications, now faced a coordinated assault by multiple species using tactics they had never encountered. Fleet Commander Vextal watched his perfect defensive formation collapse into chaos. His ships were taking damage from weapons they couldn't track, attacked by enemies they had dismissed as harmless, and cut off from the central command structure that had controlled galactic policy for a millennium. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his aide. "Over 300, Commander, and the Nexus is being evacuated. Human forces have reached the central command level." On the Nexus station, Major Susan Clark's soldiers had fought their way to the main council chamber. For the first time in galactic history, armed humans stood in the room where Confederation policy was made. The alien leaders who had ordered the extermination of 12 species now faced the weapons of the 13th. Some tried to flee. Others attempted to negotiate. A few simply stared in shock at the impossible sight of primitive humans in their most sacred space. "This is Clark to all human forces," she transmitted. "We have the Nexus. Repeat, we have taken the Nexus." The battle continued for 6 more hours, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The Confederation fleet, scattered and leaderless, began to surrender ship by ship. Their 1,000-year reign of absolute power had been broken by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Admiral Ben Collins received the final surrender in the same council chamber where humans had been, threatened with extinction months before. The alien leaders who survived the battle were forced to negotiate with the species they had tried to destroy. "What are your terms?" asked the senior Zephyrian commander, his compound eyes dim with defeat. Collins looked around the chamber at his officers. They were tired, bloodied, and far from home, But they had done the impossible. Independence for all species, he said finally. No more tributary status. No more extinctions. The Confederation can continue to exist, but as equals, not masters. The alien commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been surprise. That is all? You could demand our surrender, our technology, our worlds. We didn't fight for conquest, Collins replied. We fought for the right to be free. 3 months later, Ambassador Lisa Carter returned to the Confederation station, where humanity's war had begun. But this time, she came as the representative of the Free Species Alliance, a new organization of independent worlds. The chamber that had once echoed with alien threats now hosted peaceful negotiations between equals. Humans sat beside Kalari, Threnodi, and even reformed Confederation members who had chosen cooperation over domination. The 12 extinct species would never be forgotten. Their empty worlds served as monuments to the price of resistance. But their sacrifice had not been in vain. They had shown later species that fighting was possible,